Things I wish I knew when I first started sports betting, part 3, the hold. Now, if you only bet once every couple of months, then this really isn't a big deal. But if you bet more than that, you absolutely have to know this because this is how the sports books make their money. Don't believe me? Look at this trend of hold by Sportsbook app. FanDuel is pulling away from the competition. Now, guess who also has the highest revenue of any sportsbook operator? You guessed it, FanDuel. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't be using FanDuel. I use FanDuel all the time. What it does mean, though, is you need to be careful about what types of bets you're placing. Let me explain. So the hold or the vig or the juice is just the percent of dollars wagered that the sportsbook keeps for themselves. Think of it like a tax you pay the book to place a bet. Think about it. You've never seen a bet with plus 100 on both sides of the line. It's usually minus 110. What the books want to do is get roughly the same amount of money on both sides of the bet, so no matter what happens, they walk away with profit. So let's look at NFL Week 1, Buccaneers versus Vikings. The spread is 6.5 or minus 110. So let's say one person bets on the Bucks and one person bets on the Vikings, and that's it. That means each person is betting $110 to win $100, and the sportsbook collected $220 total. So no matter what the final score of the game is, the book is going to pay one person $210, the original 110 bet, plus their $100 winnings. They're going to pocket $10 profit. Now multiply this by thousands of bets a day. This is why you hear us say Vegas sucks at setting lines. They're not trying to accurately predict the outcome of a game. They're trying to accurately predict how people will bet. They don't care how close the final score of the game is to the line, as long as they walk away with profit. Now, there is one major exception to this, and I'll talk about that in a second. So how do you know what the hold is, or if it's a good or bad hold? This will make a lot more sense if you watch my last video on calculating implied probabilities, but all you do is convert each side of a bet to an implied probability, add them together, and then subtract by 1 to get the hold. And if you're not a math person, you can literally just Google hold calculator. There are a bunch of free ones. So the hold on a minus 110 bet is 4.76%, and this is considered standard. So anything lower than this would be a good deal, and anything higher than this, you're getting overly taxed on, you should try to avoid. This is important because if you're letting the sports book consistently tax you at a higher rate, that means you need to win a higher percentage of your bets to be profitable, and that's hard enough as it is. So that's why every professional bettor knows about the hold and why you should be signed up for multiple sportsbook apps so you can line shop and find the best deal out there. Some examples of bets with high holds would be bets that have minus 115 on both sides of the lines, or bets with more than 2 outcomes, like first basket bets, win, lose, or tie bets, or future markets. Last thing, earlier I mentioned that Vegas doesn't really care about getting the lines right, with one major exception. If you saw my first video, I talked about how lines are made in market maker books and how retail sports books, the ones that we bet with, typically just copies them after the dust settles. Sometimes what will happen is sharp bettors will bet on one side of a bet and the public will pound the other. At some point, the books will just stop moving the line and try to make it even money on both sides and just side with the sharps, hoping that they're right so that they can take the public's money. This is riskier, but sometimes necessary for a sportsbook to make a profit. And you'll see this in that classic pros versus Joes scenario, where you'll hear somebody from the book saying, oh, we need such and such team to lose tonight, or X team winning is going to really hurt us. All right, that's it. Now that you know about holds, we can talk about things like live betting and parlays and why those can be either great bets or terrible bets. All right, good luck.